issue. Right across the European Union, producers are in fear of the supermarkets they deal with. They are fearful of complaining, and we need some response on this issue.
The voluntary initiative promoted by processors and retailers in some member states to address these unfair practices still lacks an effective enforcement mechanism. It doesn't include the opportunity for confidential complaints. It's why farm organisations, some processors perhaps didn't join the voluntary scheme. So I welcome the recent Commission communication on this subject, which highlights possible enforcement solutions at member states. But at the same time, I see more and more member states, and Ireland is the most recent example, setting up legal means to tackle unfair practices. So we need to put pressure on stakeholders. The Commission should be ready to propose legal instruments if the voluntary approach does not fully address these concerns.
Sfrutterà l'occasione della revisione di medio termine per cambiare sostanzialmente questa politica agricola?
The impact of the greening measures, which we have undertaken in a declaration last April between Commission and Parliament to look at, will depend on how these greening measures are put in place. And I will work with Member States, and we have set up a dedicated unit in the Commission to assist Member States in terms of implementation. So after 1 year, we will have a look at the ecological focus areas. We'll have a mid-term review of the CAP once we have sufficient data, and I will certainly undertake to work very closely with the concerns that are being expressed by members of the Parliament and by Member States in terms of the implementation of the present policy.
With the milk quotas going next March, will you ensure your Commission is in a position to react to any eventuality that may face dairy farmers to ensure that they have an acceptable level of intervention and ensure controlled volatility in the dairy market?
I would look at the removal of production constraints in milk and in sugar as an opportunity for more employment, more jobs, more market opportunities, and then the promotional budget that I will put in place over the next few years will clearly indicate that we need to diversify from the geopolitical regions where we have difficulties at the moment and ensure that we have greater market supports and market opportunities and trade opportunities in other markets.
If we do not have strong competition on the same level playing field within Europe, we will face difficult times when opening free trade agreements with other countries. So my question is, how will you as a Commissioner ensure equal and fair competition in the agricultural sector in Europe? Because we both know that screening and timetables won't do it.
Reducing bureaucracy, reducing the administrative burden, having a market-orientated policy are very much at the forefront of my philosophy as we go forward in the next 5 years.
A política agrícola europea destrói cada día miles de explorações. Pensa numa nova PAC que asegure a renda das e dos agricultores na Europa?
The reforms that have been brought into effect are doing the entire opposite of what you advocate. We have a basic income level now for all of our farmers across the EU. Added to that, we have a greening measure which gives you additional income. Under the rural development programmes, you have additional income. Indeed, in the country I know best, up to €5,000 be made available for certain particular measures for small farmers. The proportion of small farmers in the European Union is quite large. 69% of all farmers are less than 5 hectares. So it is a significant challenge in terms of the structural reform, but also we need a viable farming sector to ensure that we have farmers there to grow the food that we need because of the opportunities that are available. I completely agree that we have to look at the Nitrates Directive in terms of a balance being struck between good water sources, good water quality, and ensuring that we have, through cross-compliance and other measures in greening, that we were able to implement the targets that have been set in the Member States for nitrates. Food security is important not just for the European Union, but food security is important for the global population. And Europe has at a distinctive advantage in feeding the world's population. So how we can diversify into other markets to remove ourselves away from the geopolitical problematic areas is going to be the challenge. But we will safeguard our standards and we will have certainly a comprehensive deal, not just a deal on tariffs. And that's my particular view on it, and I will be working closely with Commissioner Maelstrom to ensure that it happens.